You're listening to episode number 82 of the UnPerfect podcast. And if this is your first time tuning in to UnPerfect, you might want to head back to a previous episode. Unless, of course, you want some help getting into the Christmas spirit. Because this episode is my gift to my listeners this year in 2024. I'm going to have a fun conversation today with my guest co-host, Jody Allen. And we're going to talk all things Christmas. So listen in. Welcome to the UnPerfect podcast. I'm your host, Shelly Snead, and I help women see glimpses of God's glory here in the in-between the brokenness of this world and when we finally get to see Him face to face. If life hasn't really turned out the way you planned, you are not alone. Hope and probably some humor are coming up. So, Jody, welcome to the last podcast episode of Season 3 and 2024. This is kind of a big deal.
It is a big deal. I'm honored to be here.
Well, it's only fitting that we do it together since you did let me and my kids and my dog move in with you for a week after Hurricane Helene.
It was so much fun. So much fun.
It was fun, and we always have fun together, and that's why I wanted us to do this together. So we are going to start off with some fun here because I've got a little this or that Christmas edition for us. So,
all right, let me have it.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Real or fake tree?
I'm going to have to go fake. Now, we used to do a real tree a long time ago, but the needles are everywhere, and you can't put it up in like November. So I'm going to have to go artificial. I have artificial. What about you?
Yeah, we have artificial. And I know we live in North Carolina where we should go chop down our tree.
Right, with the gently falling snow.
Yeah, Art and I did that our very first year here in Asheville. It was a beautiful, wonderful thing, and we've never done it again. So, but for the same reason, like I don't want to wait to go do that. I want to put my tree up the second the Thanksgiving meal is done. But okay, here's a fun one. Would you rather do a white elephant gift exchange or a Secret Santa?
I do love a good secret because I think they're fun, but I love white elephant. Now, when we do white elephant with the people that I do life with, we usually do like nice presents, like $10 presents. So everybody leaves with something nice. But a lot of people do white elephant where it's like a gag gift. We don't do that. So I'm going to go white elephant. But then, sometimes in Christian circles, they think, oh, we're nice. We shouldn't steal. And I'm like, come on now, let's steal from each other.
Oh, yeah, we're stealing. I like white elephant, too, better than Secret Santa. But I like the gag thing. We used to have the leadership team from Ridgecrest over for Christmas every year, and we always did a white elephant. And I don't know that the leadership team and their spouses enjoyed it as much as I did, but I just loved looking for the tackiest thing I could possibly find. But it got to where the last few years, they would all leave their gifts around my house.
Ah, that's so funny, Shelly.
All the ugly, tacky things ended up at my home. They would hide them, in the bathroom or on the mantle or whatever. So
that's so funny.
Okay. Christmas movies. Are you Elf or Home Alone?
A few years ago, I tried to watch Home Alone, and I was like, there's kind of a lot of language in this. So I'm going Elf because he's just happy and fun. It's Elf all the way for me. What about you?
He is. It's Elf. And I think, I liked Elf, but my husband loves it. And it's just so much fun to watch it with him and the kids.
Do y'all watch it every year?
We do watch it every year. But we watched 2 years ago, Spirited came out. Have you seen Spirited?
I have not seen Spirited.
Okay.
Is it about a horse?
No, that's Spirit. Different movie.
That's close.
It is very close. This is Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell, and it's a musical, and it's based on, Scrooge. But it is hilarious. They're just so funny. Yeah, I don't remember if there's inappropriate or language, so, maybe we can edit this out if you watch it and go, Shelly, you shouldn't be promoting that on the UnPerfect podcast. But it is my new favorite Christmas movie. Okay, here's a big one. Open presents on Christmas Eve or on Christmas Day?
In my immediate family, it is Christmas Day all the way. However, my kids got the best of both worlds because we always celebrated with one set of grandparents on Christmas Eve. So they got to open up presents on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. What do y'all do?
Gotcha. When I was little, we used to talk my parents into letting us do Christmas Eve. But my husband is a very strict Christmas dayer. So we do that. But we have recently, like within the last 5 years or so, started doing where we open all the gifts from the kids. So all the gifts they got each other and us, we open those on Christmas Eve. So that's kind of fun because then you get to open a little something.
Ah,
And that's kind of our favorite time
yeah.
anyway, because they are so intentional about picking things out for each other and they have a lot of fun doing it. So,
That's neat. Well,
yeah.
and I don't know about you on Christmas Day, now that my kids are older, it's like before my daughter, I mean, she would not even sleep. And I said, we have to stay in bed at least till 6 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
So like 6 o'clock, they're like, Mom, it's time to get up. But now I'm like, it's like 10 o'clock. And I'm like, well, y'all want to get up and do presents? Come on, let's
Right.
get up.
Exactly. The older they get, the more sleep you get. Okay. How about white lights or colored lights?
At my house, when my kids were little, they really wanted colored lights. So we have a tree upstairs with colored lights, but the one downstairs is my tree, the one that has the white lights and the coordinated ornaments and that sort of thing. So it's a little bit of both. What about you?
I'm going to say we are mainly white lights. Like, definitely inside on the tree, we like the lights white. And outside, I mean, when the kids were younger, they thought white was boring, so we let them do colored lights outside and stuff. But we're getting to the point where no one really wants to put up lights outside. Like, we're getting lazier, and I don't know. And I think we just care more about what's on the inside than what's on the outside. Okay, here's one. Traditional Christmas hymns or modern Christmas songs?
You know, I'm supposed to be choosing one or the other with all of these, but I'm kind of smushing them together because I'm going to say traditional hymns with a modern twist.
Okay, I like this. Go with that.
Just maybe a different arrangement, a different key, a different whatever musical things there are out there. That's what I'm going to say.
Yeah, I got to say I like a mixture of both. But here's something really strange. So I taught piano lessons for years, and in the last few years, I noticed that during the months of November and December, I would always let my students play Christmas music just for fun. And so I'd pull out all different kinds, but I just assumed everybody was going to know Away in a Manger and We Three Kings and those kinds of hymns, and I had a lot of copies and a lot of different levels, so if they were beginners or intermediates. And I'm telling you, as the years went on, less and less of my students even knew what those were. Like, I remember having students going, what is Away in a Manger? And I just thought, really? Like, how are you a human alive at Christmas time and you don't know Away in a Manger?
That is really interesting.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's just because we grew up singing them every week at church for the whole month of December, you know, all 4 verses or what. But, yeah, I thought it was really fascinating and a little sad.
Right, but I guess we sang them for a month for, 18 years before we graduated.
This is true. This is definitely true.
Well, I have a question for you. What is your most memorable Christmas?
Oh, gosh, the most. That is tricky because I have some stories I could tell of some crazy Christmas shenanigans.
I'm sure you do.
No, but here's one that goes way back. I remember the Christmas that I got the Barbie Dream House.
Aww.
I'm sure it's nothing like the current Barbie Dream House. Like, it had an elevator that you pulled with a string to get Barbie up and down. But I remember coming down to that and just being in awe of it.
Well, the Barbie Dream House now, does it have an elevator that's electric or battery operated?
I have no idea. My daughter is shouting from the other room that we never got her one. But I would say it probably runs on an app, or maybe kids just go, Alexa, Barbie wants to go down now. But I would say the most memorable Christmas of my adult life was probably, or at least one of them, was the first year that my second son was born, because he was born in November and spent the next 4 months in the neonatal ICU. So we had an almost 3-year-old who wasn't able to go in and see him often, because of colds and rules and all that stuff. But on Christmas Day, they let us all come in, and one of my favorite pictures is the one of Silas looking through the glass of the isolette
And you can see his smiling face coming across with Josiah in it, but it was really precious. But we had wrapped a gift, a Thomas the Tank Engine train, and put from Josiah to Silas, and so Silas opened it there in the NICU, and it was just really special. How about you? Most memorable Christmas that you've had?
We, as you know, I am divorced, and my ex-husband had addiction issues, and when that all surfaced, he went away to a treatment center where he was gone for 3 months, and it happened to be October to January. So he was not here for Halloween, which for us is free candy. Like,
right.
That was like good times for us. So we missed Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's, but we had the opportunity. We're in North Carolina and the treatment center was in Georgia, and we had the opportunity to go visit for a weekend. And my kids had not seen their dad in 2 months. I don't even think that he had communication for the first 8 weeks he was there. But he had filled out cards for them that I could give them once a week. But it so happened that where he was in the Atlanta area, the Atlanta Falcons, which is a football team for those non-football people, we're playing the Carolina Panthers because we're in the Charlotte area. And so we were able to work it out that we were able to go to a football game together. So I gave my son on Christmas morning, we're there Christmas morning, their dad's not there. And I have a video of him. I printed out the tickets and wrapped them up, and he opened it up, and he was so excited. I have tears in my eyes thinking about it now. He was just so excited that we were going to go do that together, and they were going to spend the weekend with their dad. So we went and did that, and it was just a really neat experience just to watch him open that and be able to experience that together. That God worked it out in the Panthers' schedule that they were playing the Falcons the weekend we were going to be there.
That is awesome.
That's probably my most memorable Christmas.
That is so sweet.
It was neat.
What a little kiss from God in the middle of a probably really, really tough time in you guys' life.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Christmas traditions. I would love to know if you guys have any special Christmas traditions that you used to do or continue to do in your family.
We were not big tradition people. I have a friend, which she is so fun. She's so fun. She would do 12 days of Christmas with her kids. Like on the 13th, is that 12 plus 13? On the 13th, they would wake up and she would have 12 things to do for the 12 days leading up to Christmas. And I am not that organized, but for me, we did smaller things. We always did a flaming Christmas tree. Have you ever done this before, Shelly? A flaming Christmas tree? Well, I'm going to tell you about it. It's really a cake. I bought a Christmas tree pan, and then you cook the cake, bake it, and decorate it or whatever. But then you buy sugar cubes, and you put them on a plate, and you douse them in peppermint oil, and then you take the sugar cubes and you put them on the cake, and then you light the sugar cubes on fire. And these pretty blue flames come up. And we always did a flaming Christmas tree as a dessert. And the house smelled like peppermint. The cake tastes like peppermint. It was just super fun. So we've done that when we go other places. We'll do a flaming Christmas tree. So that's one thing that we've done.
We could have pulled that off in this Snead home because, us and fire just doesn't mix. We once almost set our kitchen table on fire when I was trying to do a homeschool Bible lesson.
What were you trying to do? The lion's den?
Correct book of the Bible, wrong story. No, this was Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego getting thrown into the fire.
Oh, yes, the fire. That's right. Yes, the fire.
We were supposed to do this little thing where we showed when you got near it how it kind of could singe the hair off your arms by just being right next to it.
So we just did little things like that. We live close to McCaddenville, which is, I think, is supposed to be Christmastown, USA. We would drive through the lights. And one thing that we did is every year, and we still do this now. My kids are 21 now. They're twins and 21. And we would let them pick out a Christmas ornament every year. And one year we made the mistake of going to the Hallmark shop. Well, who can afford ornaments at the Hallmark shop? Right?
Oh, for real.
So they have one Hallmark ornament. That's it. We did that every year. And just some smaller things. We did Santa for a little bit, not for a long time, but they would sprinkle reindeer food in the yard. Have you ever made reindeer food, Shelly?
Girl, I can barely cook for my own people. I can't feed the reindeer too.
This is actually the first I'm even hearing of this.
Well, it's oatmeal and it's glitter, and you just sprinkle it in your yard. And so the reindeer, when they come to visit, they have food to eat. And of course, you leave cookies out for Santa. And then we always did the night before. I mean, this is like the ultimate lie. I hope kids aren't listening to this. Parents, turn this off. We would also do the Santa Nordic tracker. I don't know if you've heard of that. It's
What? No. Please continue my Christmas education.
some website where you can go on, and it shows, it's got a flashing light in the sky, and you can see where Santa is. Is he over New Zealand? Is he over Singapore? And he's in Europe. We better hurry up and get in bed.
Yeah, the bed of lies. Okay, Allen twins, if you're listening, I am personally going to pay for the therapy that you need to recover from that.
Do y'all have some traditions?
We do. So one of them is when we adopted our two youngest kids from Rwanda, they had everywhere we ate, because we were there for 2 weeks, everywhere we ate, they had bottled drinks, and my kids got orange Fanta. Like they'd never had it before. And that just became like our thing. Like orange Fanta makes us think of Africa. I know if you are African born and listening to this, you're like, that is so not African, but it was to my kids. So every year they get Fanta bottles in their stocking.
That's neat.
And they look forward to them, like they're feeling around. And some years I can't find the bottles. I have to get cans, but we do it.
Now, do you give that to all
it's
four of
orange
your
Fanta.
kids, or just the two that were adopted?
Yes, all four.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just become a family thing that we do. I don't know. We also read the Christmas story on Christmas morning. Like we'll eat breakfast and then do that. That was something my husband's family did. Like he has it memorized because they read it every year, the entire chapter of Luke 2 in a certain translation. And yeah. And then
That is so spiritual. I wish I had it together like that.
Yeah. He's the reason that we have some spiritual traditions, probably. But I do love this one. Every year on Christmas Eve, we go to the Christmas Eve service at our church. And then if it's not on a Sunday, which happens every once in a while, we drive through Chick-fil-A and everybody gets a milkshake. I have no idea what started that tradition, but we've probably done it for 10, 12 years now. And it's been fun to include other people. Like one Christmas we had a high school kid living with us for a couple of weeks because he had a really rough home situation. And so he spent the whole Christmas holidays with us. And so we got to take him to do that. And another Christmas we had a precious Muslim family that was here seeking asylum from a Middle Eastern country. And they came with us. And it was so sweet. We were like, y'all, we're driving through Chick-fil-A, and they ended up wanting to pay for our milkshakes and stuff. So it's kind of fun when you can use some of your traditions as an opportunity to reach out to, if it,
That's cool.
if the Lord brings that to your door, which he had both of those years. Okay. My last tradition,
Now,
and this one's
Wait.
crazy.
I have a
Go ahead.
question about the milkshake.
Yes.
Question about the milkshake. What flavor do you get?
Okay, good question. So art is always peppermint, and I think maybe Silas, but I do chocolate. Like I don't think I've ever had a milkshake that's another flavor. I don't care what time of year it is. Yeah, just like chocolate. So
Interesting.
yeah,
Well, you can't go wrong with chocolate.
you really can't. You really can't. The other thing we do, and this is really crazy, and we started this about 10 years ago, is my birthday is on December 16th, and Art and I...
Happy early birthday.
Thank you. So Art and I, he always takes that day off, and we make sure, when the kids were younger, we had somebody watching them or whatever, but we do all of our Christmas shopping on that one day. Which is kind of insane, I know. And we do a little bit throughout the year, you pick up little things. You're like, oh, I'm going to get this for their stocking or whatever. But we have a blast. And sometimes we don't even have a plan. We just go and we hit, Target and Walmart. And if we can think of some other things, Dick's Sporting Goods, maybe, or Best Buy, but it's just fun. Like he and I have so much fun because there's just a joy in shopping for your kids or shopping for other people, and then getting to do that together. And then we always eat lunch somewhere. So just a fun day.
Oh, that sounds neat, Shelly.
Yeah.
Well, Shelly, you always have funny stories. That's one thing I love about this podcast and getting your newsletter. I can always count on a Shelly story, a Shelly shenanigans story. So tell me if you have any funny stories about Christmas? Anything funny that happened over Christmas?
We probably have funny stories for every holiday. I will tell you one. This is from my second year married. So pre-kids, we've only been married. This is our second Christmas together. It was our first one in Asheville. And Art and I were both teachers. Now, he was a math teacher, but he wanted a new office.
My word.
Yeah. He's real smart and stuff. So,
Yeah.
which is good because we need someone around here that can fix garage doors when we run into them. So I chose well. But he had chosen this desk chair that he wanted. And of course, we were newlyweds and both teachers on a budget and everything. And so it was a really nice office chair, comfortable, that he wanted for his, I guess it was for school, for his desk at school. And so he had picked it out and everything. Well, when I went back to get it, the guy working there was a great salesman. And he was like, "Oh, your husband's a teacher. I have this amazing talking globe." And so I went over and looked at it, and he was showing me all the stuff it did. And I was like, this is so cool. Like, it can tell you how far you are from these different places. And I mean, it was really cool. Like, it wasn't like a child's thing. This was like $100 talking globe.
Oh,
So
my word.
Said, yes, he'll love this. His students will love this. Let's just get him a cheaper chair and we'll get him the talking globe. And so he opens the chair I think he opened the globe first. And he's like, he can't even mask what the heck have you just done? He can't even mask it on his face. And he's like, I teach math, right? Like, not geography. And I was like, well, I know, but I thought your students think it's fun. And then he opens the chair, and it's not the one he picked out or wanted. It's the cheaper chair.
Shelly.
So he returned them both and got the chair. And I really have struck out ever since. Like, he's the best gift giver and I'm the worst. And that was just that's our go-to story to show Shelly is the worst gift giver. Like,
that is so funny. So now when he does he just send you links now and you just buy the thing?
That is where we are. Yeah. That's where we are.
That is so smart.
Yeah. It's
my
sad.
Kids.
It's really sad, but that's where we are.
Well, my kids, they send their lists on the Notes app. So they can send it to me. They can share it with me on an iPhone, and then I can just pick what I want out of it because they include the links.
See, that's genius. And what you just taught me before we even pushed record on this podcast is that as they change it changes does. Okay, I can't even fathom that kind of technology, even though I'm
modern technology
now. Yep. Can't do it. Remember, this
modern
is me,
technology.
Barbie Dreamhouse, pull the string. Like, that's what I was raised on. Oh my goodness. All right. Here is a very important question. When do you decorate, Jody? When do you decorate for Christmas?
Well, we are recording this in, it's like November 20 something.
It's before Thanksgiving.
My Christmas tree, it's before Thanksgiving. My Christmas tree is up already. And it has been up probably a week. Because it's artificial. I can put it up whenever I want to.
Yeah. I love it. I love it.
I haven't.
Go ahead.
I haven't put my Christmas lights outside because I didn't want my neighbors to think that it's, I'm
Right.
too early. But then I drove in last night and I said, people have their Christmas lights up already? I can put mine up now.
You can. That's crazy.
I can.
It's so much work to get everything up. You want to enjoy it as long as you can. Like, I totally get that.
Yes.
Plus, there's just nothing like wintertime with lights on a tree when you sit down in your living room. Like, to me, that's just.
I know. There's something soothing about that.
It is. It's very soothing. Now, it was my mother cannot stand to even speak of Christmas before the turkey is completed, like on Thanksgiving Day. Like, that is my mom doesn't have many pet peeves. She is pretty easygoing, but that's one of her things. So I think that was ingrained in me. But I'm telling you, when we take the last bite of sweet potato casserole, I'm like, everybody up to the attic. We're pulling down Christmas. So
that is so funny.
Yeah. But
how long do you leave it up?
As long as possible. Number one, because I dread putting it all away. It's a pain. And, with artificial trees, you have a lot of you have like green pine needles. Well, maybe you do with a real tree. I wouldn't know. But you're vacuuming up for the next 6 months artificial tree needles.
Yeah.
But anyway, I probably put it up like the second week of January.
Yeah.
So.
I might sometime by the second week of January, I probably have mine put away. It's funny. I have a friend who Christmas Day, when everybody leaves, she takes her stuff down. She said, I am tired of this mess. She takes it down on Christmas Day.
That would be so depressing to me. I like to pretend it's still Christmas for another week. Yeah. I do.
Well, what is one thing that you're going to do differently this year?
Okay. I'm going to give you 3. Because I don't follow directions very well. Because 3 come to mind that I have been intentionally thinking about lately. One is I am not volunteering for the Christmas Eve service at my church this year. I love you and I both love Sandy Cooper over at the Balanced Momcast, and she always talks about every year having a to-don't list, a Christmas to-don't list. And mine this year is I'm not going to volunteer. I always feel like I'm here. I don't have young kids. I should volunteer. And worship team is where I volunteer. But it's 2 services. So like there's a 4:00 and there's a 6:30 and you have to be there early. So it really kind of wipes out Christmas Eve. And I just decided this year we're leaving the day after Christmas for my nephew's wedding in Florida. And I'm just going to be present and home all day with my kids. So playing games, watching Christmas movies. So yeah. So, and I've mentioned this several times on the podcast. I am not saying you should not volunteer and you should be self-absorbed, but I do think we're in a church culture, or some of us have been raised in a church culture where we feel guilt when you don't volunteer, instead of thinking, is this something, life-giving for my family God's calling me to do? Or is it okay if I take a step back? Anyway.
Well, and that's definitely something to balance, because I'm on staff at my church.
Sure.
So I have to be at the Christmas Eve services, and I do first impressions. So I coordinate the greeters and the ushers and the parking people and the coffee and that sort of thing. And I'm like, ooh, I need people to volunteer, because otherwise we have no cookies, we have no coffee, we have no offering or somebody to pass out the bulletins. But you do have to balance that. You got to do what's right for you.
Yeah.
And every year might be different. One year you might serve together as a family.
Correct. Yeah, that's exactly right. Another thing I'm doing this year, this is funny because this child just walked through the door, so now he's going to know this. But I have one kid that I have so much trouble finding the right gifts for him. And I feel like he's always sad on Christmas afterwards, because it's just so hard, because he's a great kid. I'm calling him a kid. He's 20. But
okay, you know what, Shelly? You should tell him to send you links on the Notes app.
Well, he probably will. But you also want to surprise him with things. And we do big stockings. Like we have stocking bags. And I don't want it to be stuff he's like, oh, that was cute, and throw it away, But anyway, here's what I'm doing. I'm praying about it, that God will show me some really neat things that he would enjoy. Because, he tells us we can pray about everything. And I just decided
that's right.
That's something that will bless me if he is blessed at Christmas. So I'm praying about that.
I think that is a great idea, Shelly, because I can't say that I really pray about the gifts that I give people. That's a great idea.
Don't think I ever have. Yeah. The last thing, and this is probably the most important, is I am going to ask for help. I tend to do it all, and then maybe even in the past done some huffing and puffing that no one's jumping up going, wow, mom's really busy, we should help her. That's just probably not going to happen. So I'm going to, I wrap all the presents, and so the stockings, we're talking like 20 things for each, little things. They're knickknacks and that kind of, Fanta bottles and stuff. But we wrap everything.
You wrap all of those?
Yes, because it's so much fun to unwrap. Yes. And we take turns and wait for each person to unwrap every one of these gifts. How crazy is that? It's just fun.
That's fun.
So I'm going to get my husband and my kids to help me wrap. I'm going to get them to help me cook. I don't want to be upstairs wrapping or in the kitchen the whole time. I want to be present and playing games with them. And, my oldest just got married, and they won't be with us on Christmas Day because they'll be with her family. And so I'm just realizing I'm in a season where, we're not going to always, there will be some Christmases where it's just me and Art, which will be great. I'm sure we will do some things to make that special too, but I just want to absorb the time that I have. So I wanted to delegate. Yeah. Plus, I need to be teaching my kids, mom shouldn't be doing everything. Y'all help.
Right. So, as I think about that question, something that I might do differently this year, I think about just the journey that I've walked. I'm now divorced, and that puts me in the single mom category, and kids being here one Christmas morning and not the next Christmas morning. And just, I think about what I would do differently, but I feel like because the nature of the road that we've walked, we are doing things differently already.
Right.
But I remember the first year that I was divorced and my kids were not going to be home for Christmas. I did divorce care, which if you have walked the road of divorce and haven't done divorce care, I just highly recommend it. But they said, one of the suggestions they gave for holidays is to have some special things, like have your day planned. You've got some special things. You got a book that you want to read or a puzzle that you want to do. And I really did that for the first couple of years, and it was very helpful. But I've moved away from that. So I think for me this year, I want to take time and read a book or do a puzzle. Right. And I bought a little bookmark at Hobby Lobby, diamond art. I don't know if you've ever done diamond art.
That's so funny. My mom and daughter have been doing it. Like they were just doing it all day yesterday.
Well, I think that I'm going to try that this year. And I think the other thing is, because the nature of my life, I feel like I'm leading at home and I'm leading at work and I'm leading here and I'm leading there. And I just need to check out from that.
Sure.
And feel like I don't have to lead all the time. So I'm going to pull out that puzzle. Even though it's a fall puzzle, I think I'm going to pull it out and do a puzzle and do some diamond art, get myself a new book. So I'm just going to, that's what I'm going to do this year. And that sounds very selfish now that those words came out of my mouth, Shelly.
No. But I think it's like you said, I think different seasons, and you want to do what's life-giving for you. And you've already thought about your kids and the other family. And so, yeah, I think it's beautiful. I think we have to care about ourselves, or we can't care about other people very well. I feel very
right.
I do feel very strongly about that. Well, I have loved our conversation, and I hope you guys, our listeners, have heard some things that either made you laugh or made you pause and go, oh, I might try that. But it is our prayer that you would be intentional about being present with others this season, that you would think about what is going to be life-giving for me and for my family, and maybe what do I need to let go. Just look for ways that God may show up. We've shared some stories today that were tough places to be for the holidays, but God shows up. He always does. And he can make beauty in the midst of our chaos and our messes and our disappointments, because he adores us and he adores you, our sister. So we just pray that you are able to see glimpses of God's glory in the now and the not yet of your UnPerfect Christmas season this year.
And if you are wondering how you're going to make it through the holidays without the next 4 weeks of an UnPerfect episode, I've got you taken care of, because you can subscribe to my newsletter, where you'll still get a few things. An email once a week, which typically reads like one of my solo podcast episodes, but I've also got some fun things I'm going to be sharing with you over the next couple of weeks. Some of my favorite people to read their material, their Substacks, their blogs, some of my favorite books, some of my favorite overall resources. So you definitely don't want to miss out on that. So click on the link to subscribe in the show notes. And you can always go back and listen to episodes that you might have missed.
And I usually say, see you next time, but this time I'm going to say, see ya in 2025 in season 4. Y'all have a Merry, Merry Christmas.